Cooper Flag went for 42 on Saturday. Happened to be in our guy Forklift Jeremy's 2K winning lineup. So he won't be there on this 3-gamer on a Monday. However, there is another talented freshman in Ace Bailey, and we're going to talk about him and this interesting 3-game slate. Mike's going to join me here. Let's get to it. Recording live from somewhere. This is One and Done.
Get out the insurance cards, get out the copays. The office is open, my friends. Brought to you by drroto.com.
It's time once again for everybody to come aboard that Green Screens Media train. Welcome to One and Done. Bienvenidos a todos a One and Done, your fast break of college basketball información. We are powered by the multiverse's greatest website. That's drroto.com. I am your sometimes humble host. My name is Jay Heinrich. I'm the conductor of the aforementioned Green Screens Media Train. Find me on X at Dr. William Cannon. I will smash that follow back button. We're not here for me, though. We are here for this guy, El Capitan himself. He's the captain of the Green Screens Media ship. He does the ship out of the train. A couple of the guys pulling some other weight everywhere else that we'll get to in a minute. But he is the OG Money Mike. Mr. Mike Holland. Mike, what it do?
What up, my man? What up? You mentioned it off the top, man. Congrats to one of the breadheads. He's already in the live chat here.
Yeah.
Good old Forklift Jeremy saying good evening, fellas. And Belly Ball up in here, too. What's up, Belly Ball? Saying congrats on the big win yesterday. And, man, that was an awesome lineup that you had out there. I think Forklift, as Eric says, congrats, Jeremy, and some bread. I would say breadcrumbs, but it was tons of bread falling off of that truck for Forklift. So congrats on that. I think Forklift owes me some money because I donated quite a bit on that Saturday slate. So it hasn't been good the last couple of slates, Jay, but hey, man, I got some rebate back, and you can't win them all. So I'm looking forward to chatting about this 3-gamer that we have coming up on Monday.
Interesting 3-game slate on a Monday, indeed. Don't forget about our guy at Fantasy Nav in those Twitter streets, Eric the Blue, behind the scenes. Also, our guy Nape C. Hustle, CC Hustle, the new moniker of our guy at the Real Napier in those Twitter streets, pushing some buttons tonight. Him and Eric doing the things that we don't see, but they're there, and we see you there as well. Jason B with the FLJ Forklift Jeremy and the old fire emoji there. And Jeremy, of course, saying he's got as much as you guys help us out. Hey, listen, Jeremy,
no way,
all jokes aside, man, we appreciate you giving us the shout out on Twitter when you post those green screens, which, by the way, no longer Green Screens Media Train. We got through this thing. Breaking news. We went through the intro for the last time, as this is now the One and Done CBB channel on YouTube. That's what the channel is now. One and Done College Basketball at One and Done CBB over on YouTube. So yeah, no more Green Screens Media in terms of the branding. But so if a couple of people reached out and said, hey, I don't see the Green Screens Media channel anymore on my YouTube things. Are you guys coming? What's going on? We're here. It's just One and Done now.
There's no NASCAR, soccer.
Yeah. Hey, it's okay to dabble in that stuff sometimes. But no, One and Done college basketball here for you, bringing you the heat. We hope you are hanging out with us. If you're here for the first time, welcome. Hit those buttons so you don't miss anything that we're doing. But we're here for this 3-game slate. Let's get to it. Minnesota and Maryland here, a 136-point implied total. Of course, these numbers that we use, if you are not familiar, these are Ken Palm's totals projected here for each team, not necessarily a thing. Oh, yeah, you know what, guys? Hey, why don't we do this real quick? Why don't we get to Mike's overview of this slate real quick before we get to this 3-gamer? Mike, I skipped ahead because this is an interesting slate, but we do need to get to your quick overview. How are you feeling about this slate, Mike?
The pricing's soft. There's only one guy over 9K, but there's very little value that we know of as of right now. There's 2 double-digit spreads, so potential for blowouts here. And as always on 3-game slates, 2-game, 4-gamers, you're looking at overloading like these high team totals. So Maryland, Notre Dame should be very popular. And then I think in contrarian attorneys, the times you win it, the 10% or less guy that just goes bonkers, man. Who's that guy going to be? We'll try to identify him and try to make some cash, man. But yeah, I'm ready to dive in too, man. Try to get that 1K to first tomorrow. Get a comma, baby.
Yeah, we're chasing those commas for sure. Just like our guy Forklift Jeremy, and just like our guy Ty Medic in the comments there saying Purdue and Wisconsin look unbeatable.
Overreaction Monday. Oh wait, it's still Sunday.
Hey, either way though, this is what we do. Let's overreact here and chat about it in the chat. Let's talk about it on air. Let us know what your takes are. We want to see him in the live chats. Yeah, Ty's saying, talk to us, Mike. Let the people know. We want to know what you got to say, Mike.
I'm more interested in Jay and his Big Ten getting a bunch of teams in. It's just how it's going to be. The Big Ten and SEC have 18 schools each, so I mean you're going to get a ton of bids. But yeah, they look. I mean, there's no team that is going to be on that one line there in the Big Ten, but going to get a bunch of teams in. We'll see if they can do some things this year.
Yeah, we'll see if they can do some things. Ty is also saying that Dawson Garcia is all Minnesota has, and that is the first game on our rundown, as you see right there on the screen. 136 points implied here. Minnesota only implied to get 60 there because this is one of those double-digit spreads, Mike, that you were talking about. 60 points on this side. Oh, my gosh, this tempo just makes me want to go to sleep. 359th. Is Minnesota. But, of course, Maryland is top 100 in the country. So a little bit of a pace up here, obviously, or a lot of bit of a pace up, and they're still only implied for 60. So Maryland plays the good defense, too. 170th in bench minutes, but they've tightened up that rotation the last few games, Mike, which we like to see, of course. And, yeah, Ty was talking about Dawson Garcia. Here's the deal. 8,400 for Minnesota here. Cheap price tag, but a tough matchup with those Maryland bigs. He should play 35-plus minutes. Yeah, that's basically guaranteed here. He's only been under 30 fantasy points 3 times all season. The problem is the options at his price tag are in better spots than this total, this game. Yep. You talked about the contrarian play, the 10% guy, and Dawson Garcia might fit that mold there in terms of just trying to get a little bit different. I think in a cash game, a cash play, you can consider him regardless, just because, again, you know what the floor is there. 35 minutes, 30 fantasy points, that's the minimum. So cash play for sure, but I don't know how often I'll be able to get to him in the tournament play, Mike.
Yeah, he's in a weird spot, man, because of that price tag. We're going to talk about some other guys that are right around there in the high sevens that are a little bit cheaper. Even, we'll talk about Bilodeau here in a minute at 8K, just in a much better matchup. So, yeah, I think you play Dawson in a tournament, and, could he have a good game? Maybe. I mean, Maryland's really been able to hold these guys down, but team total of 60 is it's kind of ugly, and it renders a lot of the side, man. I don't know that I have a lot of interest. And you got Lakai Patterson at guard. He's 6,700. These guys are kind of priced right, but this is just a bad matchup. So Lakai, he's got strong rates here, 24% shot, 24% assist. Typically plays like 28 to 34 minutes, but again, we talk about the 60-point implied total. Like, all these guys are going to need to be super efficient to try and hit for attorneys. So renders him more of a cash target for me, more than a tournament target. So Lakai Patterson's there. That's kind of how I feel about most of this Minnesota side. Mike Mitchell sitting there $300 cheaper. I think he's probably the one guy outside of Garcia that I would consider for a tournament. Another guy that plays 30-plus minutes, a 24% shot and 21% assist rate. Has 30 fantasy point upside if at all. But again, like, these guys are going to have to be really efficient. It's like, who's the one Minnesota guy that's going to be efficient that can, make a tournament lineup? So Mike Mitchell, I do think he has a chance to kind of do some things here. He typically takes double-digit shots, has a high assist rate. All these guys are kind of secondary pieces for tournaments for me. And then Ty jumping in here, talking about old Fime here. Odokale, the guard, he's 5,700 here. settling into a solid role. I mean, he played great at Wisconsin the other night, 28 minutes, 24 fantasy points. Like, he has stock upside and nice assist upside. And, when you're in these 60-point team totals, like, you got to be able to do other stuff. But the thing is, man, like, a 15% shot rate, that's what kind of kills me here. Just makes it really hard for him and this team total to get to 4X. I don't mind, like, if you're mass multi-entering, if you put him in a lineup or two, but it's kind of it for me. Parker Fox, we'll have to mention him. He's 5,500. Like, this is a bit much for him. His minutes fluctuate like crazy. The last 3 games, he sandwiched 40 minutes in between 2 games of 21 minutes. We just don't know. We typically get just the 20 minutes out of him. So we're no longer getting that 4K price range. Just makes him a tougher click, especially at a 60-point team total here. So he's turning viable in case he plays 30-plus minutes, but you're really gambling there. But sometimes that's what you have to do in a 3-game slate like this. So Parker Fox, the rates aren't great. The price is up. People are just going to hop off of this train. I don't know, Jay. Like, it's just really hard to, like, build a tournament around a team total of 60. And Garcia and Mitchell would be the guys I'd look to, while Patterson is more of like a cash target for me.
Yeah, it might be tough to click on Fox there. On the Maryland side, though, a little bit easier to consider these names. The 76-point implied total here, that big-time pace down that we referred to earlier, but you do like the team total. Minnesota is last in the Big Ten in defensive efficiency, 125.5 points per 100 possessions. That's a lot of points. Okay, that's a lot of points here. So, again, the blowout potential is there, but you hope that if Minnesota can at least try to dictate it a little bit, dictate that pace and slow it down a little bit here, on their end at least, not from a fantasy point perspective, obviously, we want Maryland to get up and down and run, right? And Julian Reese is that sort of boom-bust GPP target here that in terms of the matchup that Maryland's getting, boost in three-point percentage, rebounding, free throw rate, assists, all of these sort of, things that we look at to maximize our plays here in these matchups. Julian Reese, a guy that's scored 40-plus fantasy points in 3 out of his last 5, Massive rebounding rate, right? So 41% combined rebounding rate to go with that 5% block rate as well. Picking up those fantasy points every which way. He had 14 and 9 with 4 stocks against them last year on the road. I love Reese for tournaments, Mike. It's just a great matchup across the board for the Terrapins.
Yeah.
You got Gillespie there, Queen, Rice. Who are some guys that you're considering on this Maryland side?
Yeah, you have Gillespie here at 8,200. He's coming off the smash game against a tough UCLA squad. So, he's their lead guard, 23% shot rate, 25% assist rate, shoot 42% from 3. So you love that. Typically gives you a safe floor. The tourney ceiling is obviously there because we've seen it, but we're paying a near max price. And Jay, I know that's something that you don't love to do, is playing a max price. If that gets people to jump off of him, I have some interest. Derek Queen, though, is going to be massive chalk. 7,800. Just try to talk yourself off of this guy. I mean, both these bigs are top 150 in fouls drawn per 40. They're just going to be able to do whatever they want inside to this Minnesota interior. So, I mean, to go with that, like, he has really good offensive playmaking skills. So, like, he can get assists, really good rebound. Both of these guys, Reese and Queen, could challenge for a double-double. I think it's super contrarian to put Queen and Reese together in a lineup. That's the old Eric Romoff method, where you double stack the bigs on the same team and take down a tournament. I never do it. I always stack one of the bigs with typically a guard, either 2 guards and then a bench piece if I'm overloading, or 1 guard and a bench piece if I'm overloading. So Derek Queen, just an awesome play. It's just hard to imagine him going for anything less than 30 fantasy points. So just play him in cash, play him in tournaments. The fantasy points should flow. Rodney Rice and Selton Miguel, they're both in interesting spots here. Rice is 6,100, the starting 2 guard. Minutes have been consistent. The production kind of fluctuates. It's because he's very shot dependent. Shoots 35% from 3. Could he get hot here? Absolutely. I think I like him more for a cash setting. I prefer Selton Miguel here for 6K. kind of by tournament play that I'm pairing with the two bigs here. I love his shot rate, takes a ton of shots. He's shooting 41% from three. You just, like I said, banking on one of these guys getting hot here. I think you got to, at least a minimum here, Jay, play two Maryland starters. And then you have to look at the bench pieces in these 3-game slates. You got DHS, Deshaun Harris-Smith. He's 4,100. This is where these guys get interested. It blows out. He's going to get a little bit of run. He was a starter last year. Coming off the bench now, can't really shoot the three ball, but he's improved his offensive rating tremendously by about nearly 15 points. So if one of the starters gets into foul trouble, he could see mid-20s minutes. So, yeah, I mean, a large field tournament, if you want to take a shot at him as in a large, if you're, overloading this, I don't mind. I think a lot of the overloads, though, go to Tafara Gapare here, the forward at 3,100. He's the Georgia Tech transfer. He's 3,800. He's taken over that big man role from Geronimo, 16.5 and 11 fantasy points in the last 2 games, 15 and 19 minutes respectively. I like his profile for tournaments, especially against Minnesota. 24% combined rebounding rate, a 9% shot blocking rate, 2.5% steal rate. So your stocks are going to be there for him. For a guy that's 3,800, if he racks up 3 or 4 stocks, you were cooking. He shoots 39% from three too. So, I kind of like this here, Jay. Man, it's tough not to get to 2 at a minimum, and then three, and even sometimes 4. I'm going a lot of probably 3-0s, and I don't know if I can go to 4-0 because the Notre Dame side we're going to talk about. There's other pieces obviously from the other games, but Maryland obviously in a pretty sweet spot in this one at home.
Yeah, not any totals that just blow your mind on this 3-gamer. It's not like there's a couple of games around 140 and then a game at 165 or anything like that. Like, there's all these totals are sort of hovering around the same area. So stacking one of these games and figuring out hitting which one, goes way over, or getting lucky and something goes to overtime, having those stacks are definitely an effective way. Eric saying, yeah, most effective on 3-game slates when you stack the big man on the same side. Of course, I got Eric hopping in there. Man, some comments here. Keep them coming. We got Mike's Money Picks hopping in there, asking Mike about Rigsby. Any interest in him, Mike?
I mean, he's the stone minimum. He's 3K. I can't do it, man. I mean, I've tried so many times. I know Rigsby, I mean, if he hits 2 threes, he's already, 2.5x. So he's okay. I'm going to take my shots with probably some other value, but hey, it's a 3-game tournament. Like, anybody that plays 10 plus minutes is, especially at the Stone Cold minimum, is absolutely in play. I've had PTSD from Rigsby too many times this year for sure. And then, it looks like we got another comment here. Daniel giving us some props here. Jay, appreciating the hard work we put in. Just wanted to show some love. Yeah, Daniel, I don't know if we've seen you in the comments, man. Appreciate the shout out there, man. We do our best.
Thanks, Daniel. Definitely good to see you there. We're glad that you can catch us live. We have some people that like to hop in the comment section after the fact and let us know that they were watching. So even if you can't watch live, we'd still love to hear from you, but we are definitely glad that Daniel caught us live tonight. We're glad you're catching us live, or we're glad you're catching us later too. Either way, to talk about this 3-game Monday slate. 1 game down, 2 games to go here. Again, these totals aren't blowing our minds. 136 implied in the first one, 139 implied for UCLA and Rutgers. 71 points here for UCLA. 200 implied, I should say. 244th in tempo. Rutgers does get up and down. 69th in tempo in the country. Nice. We've seen that defensive arrow trending downward for Rutgers in Big Ten play, Mike, which obviously favors UCLA in this one, even though they're not favored. But a 2-point boost for the Bruins. Rutgers giving up 56% from 2. The front court is not exactly the Twin Towers out there playing defense. So this ain't Moses Malone and Hakeem Olajuwon out there. For Rutgers.
I say Tim Duncan and David Robinson, but okay.
Yeah, so that's why I jumped in first before you could get to it, before you could talk about the Spurs and stuff. Anyways, let's get. I try to get at least 1 thumbs down from Mike per show, and I think this might do it. UCLA's 43rd in bench minutes, so that's pretty annoying for sure.
240, 240.
But listen, Tyler Bilodeau at 8K flat. No need to worry. My accountant handles that. I love this spot for him. Listen, Rutgers has given this up to Biggs. Raw points here. TKR 16, Crowell 18, Valo 17 points in the last 3 games. Bilodeau strolls in with the highest shot rate on the team, 28% shot rate there. And he can also fill up the peripherals as well, offer some shot blocking upside. And if you need it from deep, by the way, 40% from beyond the arc. Great play in tournaments is Bilodeau. Cash game, just okay, I guess. Again, this is like that we're near season high price tag where I'm not always, Mike, you talked about it earlier, I'm not always super thrilled. But from a tournament perspective, I love Bilodeau. Great spot for him here. You just hope that he doesn't sometimes he disappears. It is what it is, you know.
Yeah.
But you hope he
every time I own him.
Yeah, well, you know, it's
just
I have a couple of guys like that, Danny Wolf. Either way, no harm, no foul here. Who else on the Bruins side before? Oh man, the live chat's blowing up. Let's get to the Bruins and then we'll get in the live chat. Who else you got on this side?
Yeah, man, Kobe Johnson, he's 7,200, and they're tightening things up a little bit here. Like, I think Cronin realizes he has to play Kobe Johnson max minutes right now. Played 39 minutes even in a blowout at Maryland where they got blown out. The price tag is a bit annoying on him, but you like that he's been 20-plus fantasy points in 6 of the last 7. I don't know that he has tourney upside at 7,200, but he's a nice cash play. So Kobe Johnson, playing double ups, like I don't mind dropping him in. The guy that I am considering, because I'm more of a tourney player, is Eric Daly. You know, you got that guard forward dual eligibility that that we all like, especially when you're trying to mix and match stuff and mass multi-entry, and you can move them around to different spots. But just right there in that mid tier, man, 6,500, 24% shot rate, 25% combined rebounding rate, 15% assist rate, and a 5% combined stock rate. So boom bust tourney play. He's starting to see his minutes uptick. So I mean, if we're going to see high 20s minutes, close to 30 minutes from Eric Daly at 6,500, in this front court, him and Bilodeau, one of those two guys should feast here, especially for a tournament. So the backcourt, do we have to talk about the backcourt? There's a bunch of guys, and none of it feels comfortable except, I say except very gingerly here, Sebastian Mack. He's 5,400. We say all the time, boom bust, but this guy's floor ceiling combination is pretty crazy for this price range. Like high usage, 25%, almost a 20% assist rate. But he can absolutely get yanked at any moment. Any of these guys, honestly, really, except for Bilodeau and Johnson right now. I don't trust anybody. But here we are. I mean, there's not many other guys really under the 6K, like just in general, but also just in the slate that have 30 fantasy point ceiling. So yeah, obviously Matt going to make a lot of tourneys here. Sky Clark, 5,300 minutes are down. I know they're blowout losses. He's kind of like Kobe Johnson, but I don't know. The Johnson has much more upside around his limited shot attempts. I mean, Scott Clark's got a 15% shot rate here, man. So, like, even though he's $1,900 difference, Jay, like, I know Kobe Johnson's going to play 35, 38, 39 minutes. Sky Clark could play, 15 minutes. So probably a pass for me. I'd much rather take a shot at Sebastian Mack. Dylan Andrews, this guy's falling off a cliff here, 4,400. I've lost some money on him early in the year as his price continued to fall. He's in my tourney player pool. He hasn't really done much all season, but you start getting close to 4K, and you don't really have to do that much. The problem is he's been under 20 minutes in 3 of the last 4 games when he was playing mid-30s minutes for much of the season. So Dylan Andrews, talk about sub-10% guys that, like, if he can just get to, 17, 18, could be a nice play, but that's, scraping the barrel there with this guy. I think UCLA needs to go to Trent Perry more. He's 3,500. I don't know why Cronin's not going to him more. He came off the bench last game, obviously getting blown out, so he got 20 minutes in that one, 23.5 fantasy points. But he hadn't seen double-digit minutes since mid-December, so very risky. But 3x value, I mean, it's enough on a 3-game slate. But you could just be burning your money. I'm going to toss him in a few lineups. I think at some point they got to get – I know that Mick wants to – I think we saw it the other day. It's like they have a 90 90 points per 100 possessions on offense, and they're holding teams to 65 points per possession on defense. But it's Mick's upset that they're not. It's like, what do you want? Like you have all these guys that are really good defensive players. Like, they're not all league first round picks where they're going to also score 20 points per game too. It's just kind of like what you built. So check the starting lineup. Somehow Trent Perry makes his way in the starting lineup, man. He's going to be a massive chalk. So just hoping and praying here. But yeah, man, it's the two forwards for me, Jay, and then Sebastian Matt.
Mike's Money Pick saying the only bad thing with UCLA is you never know who's going to end up in Cronin's doghouse. Yeah, and that's the thing about Dylan Andrews, right? And the minutes.
Yeah.
Under 20,
like they're gone.
3 of the last 4. It's almost just like, man, out of nowhere. You remember on The Price is Right that the cliffhanger game was. And the guy's going up. And you get it all the way to the top, and then Dylan Andrews is about to fall off right there completely if he doesn't get back on the right side of Mick Cronin for sure. Bully ball in their game-winning doink for Washington.
Oh, yeah, they won 23-20. So they're advancing in the old NFL playoffs. Beating the old
NFL playoffs. Oh, okay. All right. Very good. Very good. Love the show. Carlton hopping in there. Love Carlton. Hey, not unusual to get bread with everyone. That's what we're doing over here. Thanks, Carlton, for hanging out in there. Peanut Butter Posse, man, it's been a while. There was a rough one the other night. We didn't see him in the chat after that. We didn't see him after that one. But yeah, we'll give the props here 4-0 versus top 15 teams. Your fascination with Pope's body parts is something for sure, but we definitely appreciate you, Peanut Butter Posse, Carlton, Belly Ball, Ty, everybody hanging out in the chat, Forklift Jeremy, Jason B, already, man, what's busy in the live chat, keep it going, hit those like and subscribe buttons, do the thing. Let's get to the Rutgers side here, Mike, on this one. Big time pace down, Pace down for Rutgers here. UCLA is actually one of the better defenses in the country. They have struggles in the last 2 games, giving up 93 to Michigan and 79 to Maryland here, though Rutgers still only projected by Ken Palm for 68. A 3-point and a free throw rate boost here for Rutgers, and another annoying top 60th in bench minutes. So thumbs down all around here with the bench minutes in this game. But I mentioned Ace Bailey in the cold open here. He is not Cooper Flagg in the sense of maybe, I don't know, could he get to 42 raw points? I don't know about all of that, but he's definitely a talented freshman. He's the price king, and for good reason. Mike Harper's been struggling. Bailey has tried his best to carry the load here for Rutgers. What you're going to get are those massive rates, Mike, across the board. What you don't like is the matchup. Just keep them in the tournament player pool. The upside is there. We know the upside, 40-plus fantasy points on any given night. You can't mess with them in cash, I don't think, without just the clear value. I can't, but
yeah,
it's tough, man. I don't know. I don't think – is Bailey going to be one of those guys that ends up being – like more of a contrarian play at 9,400. There's just nobody to spend up for, Like,
yeah, no.
You look at
there's
the top
nobody
of this thing,
pay down for.
Yeah, exactly. So it's like, well, I can't get to Ace Bailey. No, you can. There's nobody else to pay up for. The money is going to be there. Do you go to Ace Bailey, Mike? How are you feeling about him, and what are your other thoughts on Rutgers?
It's just hard to go to him when Dylan Harper's $2,000 cheaper. We talked about the Maryland guys. We're about to talk about the Notre Dame guys. Like, yeah, maybe if he's, I don't know if I touch Ace in cash just as we don't have a lot of, value locks in cash. It's tough to spend 20% of your salary on one guy here in a rough spot. But, man, Dylan Harper, like, I'm just going to continue going down with the ship here. 19 fantasy points last game, 8.5 the game before. I know he's been sick. The price has come down from $9,700, so a $2,300 decrease here. I'm just going to lock him in until he eventually goes for 40, 50 like he's been doing. He's averaging 37 fantasy points per game on the year still, even with those 2 duds. You just lock him in cash and tourney, and then it kind of renders the rest of this Rutgers team when those 2 guys are healthy as super annoying. Like, I'm not playing Jeremiah Williams with Dylan Harper, and JaMychal Davis is $5K. Before the dud against Purdue, where he had half more fantasy point than you did the other day, Jay, in 21 minutes. He's been really good. For probably get 26, 30 minutes. Like the rates aren't great, but he's produced 3 extra more in 4 straight. So like he's kind of interesting. He's in the tourney player pool. I'm not excited about it. Lathan Somerville got the start, absolutely destroyed all my lineups. I put him in 100%. Of course, when he starts, Ogbole ends up playing 20 minutes and plays well. Somerville just didn't do anything. Like if he starts again, I think I'll have to take a shot or two in tourneys. He's a really good rebounder, a good shot blocker, just more of a secondary value piece at 4,800. You got all these other guys, man. Durkak, Acuff, Ogbole. Like Durkak, he's 4,500. His role's just completely fallen off. Demoted from the starting lineup in mid-December. Like he's still at a season low price tag. So you just never know. Like if the lineups come out and Durkak's back in, I think at this point, Pikeel's going to like try anything and everything. So if he starts, you have to consider him for tourneys. If Acuff starts at 4,200, I mean, he's been super aggressive in the last couple of games where, basically taking Harper's fantasy points. He's got an offensive spark. I mean, I think it's a top 5 in points per game last year at Eastern Michigan. Back-to-back games, over 20 fantasy points. But with Harper, he should be good to go here. And with me playing like a ton of Harper, it's just going to be tough for me to see Acuff getting back to 20-plus fantasy points. But if he ends up in the starting lineup with Harper, I don't mind him as a stacking partner. And then Ogbole, man, he's 3,500. I don't even know if I need to talk about this guy. Like, they got to slow down Bilodeau. I think Somerville can play a little more inside out than Ogbole can. So he's got some block and rebounding upside. It's just, I don't know, man. Maybe we're doing too much here. I just want to play Dylan Harper, maybe Ace Bailey in a couple of tournaments. I don't know that I'm going to much here because we're going to talk about Notre Dame and how much better this looks.
Before we move on to that, I wanted to ask you, we talked pre-show. I want to get your feeling now because I know as we talk about the slate, sometimes your opinions change as we talk more and more about them and more things just come to light and come out as we're having these discussions. Will we see Dylan Harper at this low of a price tag again this season? And because that to me is like, it just screams like I want to be in on him. Yeah. But is this a situation where we just have to buy low and we just have to just push the button and work around it and just, or is Bailey going to be the guy that again more? It's just like you said, you're gonna have them both. You're gonna play both, and one of them is gonna go off, right? Like,
one of them should.
And it's just Harper at 7,400 is just so. I think he's going to be super popular. Mike, you said 70%, 60 to 70%, something of that in the pre-show.
Yeah, I think so.
I mean, he's gonna be super popular. It is what it is. And speaking of, playing a couple of guys, maybe 3, 4 on one team. Scott Harris hopping in. How many players from one team would you play on a 3-game slate? Thanks. But Scott, we were just discussing that briefly a little bit ago. Mike, dive a little bit more into those strategies and what that looks like. We've already hit on some of that on this slate. A 3-gamer is there such a thing as too big of a stack on a 3-game slate, and sort of where is that cutoff for you?
Nah, I'm gonna be using on some tournament lines 4 Maryland guys. On some lineups I'll be using at least 3 Notre Dame guys. So I think those are the 2 like heavy, and then I could see a lineup being made where I'm using 6 guys, from those 2 teams. I mean, you just want to overload these these really good team totals and try to find the backup piece that either goes off or find the contrarian play from the popular one that goes off. That's how you differentiate from everyone else. So they're just going to project out too well to not play these guys, multiple guys on these teams.
Thanks, Scott. Always appreciate seeing you in there. And Snake's Eyes hopping in there, saying to buy low on Harper. Now it feels like you have to. I mean,
yeah, maybe he's the first person you click on when you like when I'm setting I just go in and I click Dylan. Like, you're not going to play a guy that has 50. It's outside of being sick in the last week. Like, he's just been 40 fantasy points. Like, it's just you're asking for trouble. I could see on like a 12-game slate, but a 3-game slate, like then you're asking somebody else to like, even if he has a 28, that's still good in in this spot. 26 is still fine. You probably still win a tournament with that from him on a 3-game slate. So
appreciate everybody keeping the live chat rolling tonight. We appreciate you for hanging out with us. If you're hanging out with us later on, not watching live, make sure you hop in that comment section and let us know what you think, who you're playing. Let us know if you've gotten those green screens lately. Of course, we want to hear from you. So push those buttons. It is now One and Done College Basketball at One and Done CBB on all the socials. It's youtube.com/at One and Done CBB, I believe. Spelled that out. Search for us, One and Done College Basketball, all the socials there. We got TikTok, we got Instagram, we got, most importantly, Twitter. Get over there and hang out with us on Twitter. We're always putting core fours. If we're not going live, chances are you're going to get your cash core and your tournament core fours still over there on the Twitter page, the X page, at One and Done CBB. And that, of course, is now the name of the YouTube channel as well, One and Done College Basketball. So make sure you push all those buttons, turn on the notification bells, do your part in the One and Done universe. Or see, I almost said it. I almost defaulted to Green Streams Media universe. No. We are now the One and Done universe for sure. Peanut Butter Posse, we love you too. I see you. You're the man. Just so you know, thanks for hanging out with us. We love all you guys and gals, broskies and broskets. Tell the hoopheads in your life about us. Hey, listen, we got a special partnership coming up in a couple of weeks that I'm excited about. A new way maybe to approach the old big dance trademark March tournament madness thing, so we don't get whatever. But hey, we got a new partnership coming up. You're going to want to stick around there. Somebody new that we haven't talked about yet, and we're looking forward to bringing them on as a partner of One and Done. Something that we can't wait to share with everybody here that hangs out with us. So good stuff there. One more game here on this one, Mike, before we get out of here on this 3-gamer. A 143-point implied total, the highest implied total of the night. Here it's Boston College at Notre Dame, the highest implied total, but also another one of those double-digit lines, at least according to KenPom. Here is the old Fighting Irish, the Golden Domers, if you will. 11-point favorites at home in this one. Well, we're going to start with Boston College on this side. Only 66 implied points here, 226 in tempo, and Notre Dame is not any better at 310. So we understand why Boston College has the low total here. Notre Dame's kind of just been okay defensively in ACC play. So Boston College is going to get that 2-point percentage boost because Notre Dame is last in the conference. 63% from two, Mike. That's not good. That's not good here.
That's layups.
So, it's one of those things right here where you're looking at a 66-point implied total, but all of these metrics are sort of favoring Boston College, and it makes you feel like maybe they could get over that. And we got to talk about some of these players on this side for sure. Let's start with Donald Hand at 7K flat. All right, we talked about it's not a great team total, Mike, but he's been their most consistent weapon this year in the backcourt. 24% usage, 24% shot rate, 28% combined rebound rate there as well. Leads the team in fouls drawn per 40 minutes, so we could really get to the line here, score some points, shooting 91% from the free throw line. If he's not rebounding, though, it's going to be hard for him to get to 4X. Mike, I think that's pretty clear. I mean, I don't mind him in a cash or a tournament play, to be honest with you, especially at this price and in a game where I think Boston College is going to push to get into 70 and maybe a little bit more. I just think these metrics line up well for them, and Hand is somebody that I think we got to consider.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of these guys you can have to consider. And I think I'm probably going to take a piece at probably most likely going to be Chad Benning. He's 6,300 and leads the team in usage and shot rate. Like, he's starting to log heavy minutes, unlike previously in his career. And if you haven't seen him play, it's an old school big body back down game. 31 plus in 3 of the last 4 games as far as minutes. So you like that. It's going to be hard for Notre Dame to stop him inside. We just talked about, they're allowing all these easy buckets. Well, Benning is 57% from 2 and just bodies you down low. He's also top 250 in fouls drawn per 40. So should get to the free throw line as well. So heavy consideration in cash, some tourney appeal here with Benning at 6,300. I have really strong appeal with Elijah Strong here, 5,800 for tournaments. Unfortunately, because there's more Benning's not playing like 21, 22. He's playing 30, 31. Look, it's not taking away from Strong's minutes, but what it's doing is it's taking away from his opportunity because of Benning's rates. But still, the minutes are there. I mean, 30 plus in 4 of the last 5. Like, just because he's struggling to produce those minutes doesn't mean we can't take a one-game, outlier here from Strong. I mean, we remember when he went for 45 fantasy points in the second game of the year against Temple. So he still has 25-plus fantasy point upside easily here. So like him as a low-owned balance, like you're building out balance builds here for a tournament, like Strong at 5,800. The guards here, Josh Beadle, Deion Brown, like I know Beadle got it going against Syracuse this weekend, 29 fantasy points in 26 minutes. Like he's about a 0.75 fantasy point per minute kind of guy, but he just really needs the minutes to produce. And I mean, the minutes aren't necessarily guaranteed. I know he's, hovering in that mid 20s, shot rate and assist rate over 20%. Like just kind of a contrarian tournament option for me, at least. I don't know if people are going to click that box score from last game and think that that's like a normal thing, but Deion Brown, is the guy that I probably would rather go to. Really burned people on the Saturday slate. He played 28 minutes, produced 10 fantasy points. I don't mind going right back to him. I think this is a spot where people just jump right off. He's $400 less than Beadle. The minutes have been much more consistent. I mean, he was diving into 30 minutes not that long ago around the holidays. So 20 fantasy point ceiling at 4,700. Like he's shown that against SMU and Wake Forest. But yeah, man, I think he's a sneaky GPP option here as Tubby jumps in here, Jay, in the comments there.
Yeah, coming in late, he's saying, but no, Tubby's going to catch it back on the old rewatch. It is that time of year to dig in. We've been digging in since day one. Tubby, it. But it is definitely that time of year. We're going to be seeing more people in the chat, more people hanging out here with us on one and done. This is a fun little 3-gamer for sure, and we're diving right into it. Thanks for hanging out with us, Tubby. Always good to see you in the live chat. Make sure you push those like and subscribe buttons like our guy Tubby has, like our guy Snake's Eyes, Peanut Butter Posse, Scott, Mike's Money Picks, Belly Ball, Carlton, everybody hitting those buttons for sure. We are going to start to see better contests, Belly Ball. We're only getting the 1K to first on a Monday slate, but we're going to start to see those totals pick up a little bit here, especially as the NFL playoffs are winding down. Let's wind it down here with Notre Dame, a slight pace up for them, but then again, who isn't? 77 implied points on this side. And Boston College is one of the worst Power 4 defenses, 210th nationally in defensive efficiency. So Notre Dame is basically going to get whatever they want. Literally, they're not going to get the ball taken away from them because Boston College doesn't turn anybody over. 3-point boost as well for the old Gildan Domers. Let's talk about Marcus Burton. Mike, 7,600 is the guard, officially back with 3. He's back with 3 relatively strong games off of his injury here. Minutes have ticked back up again to the mid-30s in the last 2. Top 10 in shot rates and top 100 in assist rate in the country with 36 and 30% respectively. That's decent. We do like that. Mike's Money Pick asking if Burton's going to be the highest owned player.
Him and Harper are probably the first 2 you click.
Yeah, him and Harper are going to be definitely super duper popular, and you understand why. Elite matchup here for Burton. Basically, with this team total, with the game total, with everything on this slate going on, if you open up the app and you open up a college basketball contest on this Monday 3-game slate, just boom, click it. Just click Marcus Burton. Tubby's saying this is where they think Burton really takes off. It's going to be hard not to
Burton and Harper should be 9K.
Yeah, well, this is when you buy. You don't try to be the smartest guy in the room necessarily, and just click the button and figure it out from there.
Especially on a 3-gamer where there's not a lot of guys at that price tag that could, even come close to what their ceilings are. So, Tay Davis here, 6,800. Like you're gonna have a hard time not clicking his name as well. This is an elite price tag for him at 6,800. 19 fantasy points at Duke, but I would toss that out. Obviously, a tough road environment, really good defense there. Massive rates, massive minutes. He's averaging nearly 27 fantasy points per game. Tay Davis, good for cash and tournaments. These other 2 guards here for Notre Dame, great cash plays. Braden Shrewsbury, 6,600. Nearly 35 minutes, shoots a ton of threes. We love the 3-ball boost. Like he's going to give you 20 fantasy points. The turning upside a little bit capped because he's so shot dependent and Burton's back. So he's no longer going to take 20 field goals like when Burton was out. Matt Aloco here, he's 6,200. His tourney upside, once again, is also capped, but he plays 35 minutes, and he's shooting an elite 47% from three, has some assist upside. Just another cash lock consideration. Guys that, I mean, saying cash lock, but like in tournaments, 4X is good. So, I mean, yeah, you could play these guys in tournaments as well. That's why I say you can play up to, 3 Notre Dame guys here. Keba here at 4,900. It's not pretty, but we have to consider him for tourneys. Like, he's had some nice games. We had the Syracuse and NC State game where he went off. But he's 4,900. Solid rebounder and shot blocker. Like, he needs to make the most of his limited touches around the rim to pay this thing off in a tournament. But more of a secondary value for me. I'm not going to go too crazy. J.R. Knesny's 3,700. It's hard to play anyone off the bench because their rotation is just so much more condensed with Burton. But he's more of a tertiary value play. Like, if you want to get cute in the large field, I think Notre Dame blows the doors off, and you want to take like you want to hard. I said 4 on the Maryland side.
Mm-hmm.
If you want to go 4 on the Notre Dame side and play Burton with Davis and one of the other 2 guards and Shrewsbury and Delaco, and then toss in Knesny and see if he hits 2 or 3 threes and get some blowout run, that's another way to do it in tournaments. But yeah, man, Maryland and Notre Dame just are going to project out so well. I mean, you just have the cheapness of Dylan Harper there, man, from Rutgers. So yeah, it's going to be interesting to say how you get different, because you're probably going to need to get different at least a couple of spots.
It's not like it's that far out of the realm of possibility that Notre Dame just beats the brakes off of them. Like, it's not, So yeah, in that instance, 4 guys on this side. I mean, again, it's not going to be the cookie cutter lineup. It's not always going to be let's go 2 and 2 stack on the big total, and then let's pick Dylan Harper over here, and then let's do that. You're going to have to get a little crazy sometimes, and we're going to get to the core 4 here and sort of talk about how to approach these games from a cash and a tournament standpoint. But again, like, all of these totals are within 6 or 7 points of each other, Mike. Which game is going to go over? Which of these team totals are going to go over? Are you stacking? Are you going 4-0? Are you, there's so many ways to think about it. Even that's what makes this 3-gamer so interesting. You can approach it so many different ways, and you might have to get different to win 2K, or actually it's 1K. Jeremy won 2K. Our guy, Forklift Jeremy, won 2K on Saturday, but 1K is not always going to be that cookie cutter lineup. So consider that 4 guys, 3 guys, or whatever on the Notre Dame side, and then go from there. Good stuff there. 3 games in the books. Let's get to the core 4 and more. Brought to you by drroto.com. Loving it. I'm going to do the cash core if I don't have another coughing.
Duh.
Guys, I mean, I'm going to get another Pepsi in here. Get another Pepsi in here. It's the most. Yeah, hey, I hope that I'm just tired of talking because we are talking about so much college basketball. I hope by the end of April, like, I'm just worn out from all the shows that we do and all the content that we do. And that's what you're going to get from us here on One and Done. Tubby, thanks for the comments, for the love there, saying that we work hard and we love everybody that's checking out with the Smike's Money Picks over there. The guys from RPS too in the chat. Tubby, of course. Tubby's not a stranger to finishing very high in some of these tournaments. Tubby gets it done on those DFS streets as well. So good stuff there from everybody. Let's get to the core 4 here, though. Cash core. Again, these core 4s, you don't necessarily have to start your lineup with all 4 of these guys, but you can. But considering how to start a lineup here, consider Derek Queen from Maryland at 7,800. Smash spot for him. Big rates across the board, and it's hard to really imagine him under 30 fantasy points. Dylan Harper, 7,400, just way too cheap. Crazy rates. I'm going to just smash that Dylan Harper button in any scenario possible. Marcus Burton is there, right? We talk about him being super popular, but listen, Tay Davis for the cash core, because basically I think the guys that were just pushing that button for when we open up the app, we can't have, it would be very similar here. So instead of Marcus Burton on the cash side, let's highlight Tay Davis here at 6,800. You should really consider taking off, taking a minimum of 2, maybe 3 Notre Dame, maybe 4 Notre Dame guys, but Tay Davis for sure on a cash spot. he's just too cheap, right, Mike? I feel like Davis 6,800 just too cheap. I mean, both of them are probably locks, but
if you're giving a core 5, it's probably
yeah, for sure. But let's make sure we give Tay Davis his shine here on this slate, and then Venning from Boston College, 6,300, big time minutes and a big time matchup for him. Like the way that he lines up. So Venning, Davis, Harper, and Queen.
54-25, my friend.
That's not too shabby. Not too shabby at all from a cash game perspective. Now, Mike, from a tournament, I talked about, Queen, Harper, Davis, and Venning on the cash side. Tournament, though, a little bit different, but it's going to be hard to not just open up the app and click some of these names for tournaments.
Yeah, and I'm looking at the cash, and I'm like, I kind of want to click Queen for tourney. I want to click Burton for tourney. I want to click Harper for tourney. Right, so try to mix it up a little bit. I don't know that there's a way that you get away from Burton and Harper. Like, it's just going to be so hard. I think from Queen, you can get away by just going for Julian Reese at 8,800 because there's an opportunity that he goes for 42. And, what if Queen gets in a little bit of foul trouble and goes for like 26, right? Like, that's a possibility, and that's probably going to leapfrog the field because a lot of people are just going to start their lineups with those 3 guys. I'm going to start most of my lineups with those 3 guys and then try to differentiate. I think for the value, though, so we'll put Reese up there. We'll put Burton and Harper back up there. And then, man, because it's a tournament, I don't want to get too crazy because I feel like in a lot of my tournaments, Jay, I'm going to go with, some like 6 players from Maryland and Notre Dame, 5 players from Maryland and Notre Dame combined. But value is always nice to find if you want to play like an Ace Bailey. And if you want to play Bilodeau in these lineups, you got to find somebody cheap, right? So Gapare, man, at 3,800, I think he's really interesting. The backup big there for Maryland, so at 3,800, I don't mind that for sure. And then, if you wanted to, like a Trent Perry or any Rutgers value piece that you see, like maybe in a new starting lineup from Rutgers, I definitely don't mind that at all. So, jumping in here with Harper, Burton, Reese, and Gapare, that's going to give you 5,600. I think it's so hard to get different on this one. I feel like there's going to be a lot of chalk lineups, which is why in tournaments going from Venning to like an Elijah Strong, playing like a Sebastian Mack, getting Bilodeau in, playing one of the bench pieces from Notre Dame or Maryland, finding the one guy from Minnesota that hits. But a lot of this is going to look similar. It's just trying to get a little different on maybe the one spot where we can. But it's going to be hard to get away from those core 3 guys that are just too cheap, man.
I don't think there's any reason to get cute with this. Just plug in
play
these
those
guys
3 and then figure it out.
and then figure it out. Like you said, pick the Minnesota guy that's going to get there. Find the guys on some of these lower team totals that are going to get it done, and then just get it done. Tubby saying Sky Clark is no. Yeah, 5,300 now. You're not slipping. You're not slipping Sky Clark.
Not when Mac is right there for 100 more. No.
Yeah, not going that route for sure. And we don't have the luxury of that 4K Sky Clark either. But it's not too shabby of a way to start a lineup and then just figure it out. Again, don't get too cute with it. But if you want to get contrarian, there are ways to do it. But just know that those free squares are there, and make sure you get your lineups in with those as well. Mike, anything? Let's close this out. Any closing thoughts from the captain here before we get out of here?
Yeah, man, I'm really looking at this BC side, and maybe somebody like Deion Brown or Elijah Strong could be on the optimal lineup tomorrow. I don't know that they're going to get really much looks at all, especially Deion Brown. But Elijah Strong is so interesting to me because Vinning's going to be super popular. So, yeah, man, not much. I think we're going to have a lot of the same lineups, and it's where you find the 1 or 2 spots that are different, or at least not that different, but just like, plays that, kind of correlate, with the rest of your lineup that can make sense in case, not everything filters through the smash plays.
Good stuff there from the guy known around these parts as El Capitan himself, the captain of the green screen. Now, see, I did it again. We are no longer the green screen. No more green screens media. This is One and Done College Basketball on YouTube, at One and Done CBB on all the.
Nope, looks like we lost Jay there. But One and Done CBB on all the social networks out there. For the conductor, Mr. Jay Heinrich, I'm your boy Mike Holland. We'll probably be back tomorrow night, if not live before lock here, either for a Tuesday or Wednesday slate. So thanks everybody for joining up. Everybody in the comments, we appreciate you guys. We all see you out there. Forklift, Belly Ball, Eric the Blue, Jason B. Ty, Daniel, Mike's Money Picks, man. Good luck to you. Carlton Banks, Peanut Butter Posse, Scott Harris, Snake Eyes, Tubby. Let's go out there. Let's get this bread and get that 1K. Peace.
Thanks for stopping by the office. Get your fantasy prescription by subscribing to the channel and checking out drroto.com. And until the next visit, be well and take care.